One of my teacher, what he said is, तपाईको यो सेक्सुअल भाइलेन्स, सेक्सुअल हरासमेन्ट, रेप केसेसको जुन एफआइआर हुन्छ नि त्यो हेर्नुपर्छ अरे होइन. इट इज नट लेसर देन अ पोर्नोग्राफी.
That's the thing. You can recognize it, but it's so difficult to again take the right action.
Yeah.
Again, this whole being a strong woman is used against you. तैँले किन सकेनस्? अनि that makes me wonder, हामीले त सकेन, अरू कसले सक्छ? It's just having this conversation कि someday if you do anything wrong, I am not going to hesitate to drag you through courts.
अर्बन पपुलेसनमा हेऱ्यो भने पनि दुईटा ट्विनमा एउटा छोरी जन्मियो भने एउटा चाहिँ छोरा जन्मिँदा भयो. दुईटा छोरा जन्मियो भने त एउटा छोरी भन्दैन त. यु हेभ ट्रमा, बट देन यो सोसाइटीले नै यसले कस्तो नर्मलाइज गरिदियो कि लाइक यु लाफ्ड एट इट. अनि वेन यु लाफ एट इट होइन, तिम्रो भित्र एकदम धेरै ट्रमा छ अरे, बट देन यु आफै लाफ एट इट. दि अदर पर्सन इज वाचिङ इज हाँसी त रहेछ.
A couple of people, men, they've shared with me their instances. One of them was pretty young and he was molested by a young woman who was married. But one of the things is like these men, they did not have any spaces to go and share. And another thing is that many of the targets for child sex abuse, especially with regards to young boys, are boys who look feminine. Any sort of minority, or say particularly women from indigenous community, ethnic communities, their bodies are very discardable. This brings in the caste ko कुरा के.
त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि इभन सिस्टमको कन्टेक्स्टबाट पनि उहाँहरू थिचिएकै हुन्छ होइन. ल पेपरमा एकदम प्रिटी छ ल होइन, बट इफ यु गो देयर एन्ड देन लुक एट द कन्डिसन यु रियलाइज त्यो रियल हो. उनीहरू बलात्कृत हुनुको कारणै उनीहरू त्यो जात भएर हो, किनभने एक्सेस नै छैन टु द ल.
Pure torture, pure
Revenge torture. होइन, यो स्पेसली हाई स्कुलको किडहरूको एकदम धेरै प्रब्लम हुन्छ होइन. मेरो स्कुलमा एकदम धेरै सुनिरहेको हुन्थ्यो. लाइक पहिला न्युज सेयर गर्यो अनि पछि उसले उसको साथीलाई पठाउँछ अरे. इभन इफ हि इज नट एक्चुली लाइक दे आर स्टिल डेटिङमै पनि उसले उसको साथीलाई पठाउँछ अरे अनि उसले अर्को साथीलाई पठायो अरे. एन्ड इभेन्चुली द गर्ल गेट्स इट ब्याक फ्रम समबडी एल्स. युट्युबमा हालिदिरहेको छ अरे, पोर्न साइट्समा हालिदिरहेको छ अरे. दे वर केसेस लाइक दिस होइन. अनि यो ब्ल्याकमेलिङवाला कुरामा बिकज युर सो स्केयर्ड घरमा थाहा पाउँछ भनेर यु डोन्ट एक्चुली टेक एक्सन्स पनि क्या. एन्ड द्याट बिकम्स अ बेनिफिट टु द पर्पिट्रेटर. सो बिकज अफ विच देयर लाइक डराइहाल्छ, घरमा भन्दैन म त गर्ने हो ब्ल्याकमेल. अ लट अफ गर्ल्स दे से लाइक आई लस्ट माई भर्जिनिटी टु माई बोय फ्रेन्ड थ्रु यो नै. बिकज फर्स्टमा वी वर जस्ट सेयरिङ न्युज, but then he started blackmailing me so that I can sleep with him, and then I slept with him. So that's not how you actually get involved in a sexual relationship, because your first time is something you're going to remember throughout your life, and this actually becomes trauma. It's going to affect in the long run. But then these forms of IPV are not like registered anywhere, like cyber bureau ma pani chaina, court ma case pani jaदैन. It's because of the stigma we live with.
But also यो केस बाहिर आयो अरे के होइन. इमेजिन यस्तो केसहरू बाहिर आयो भने what's the perception? It's going to be like तँलाई कसले पठाउनु भनेको थियो त, किन पठाएको होइन, तिम्रै गल्ती हो नि त, यस्तो यस्तो कुरा गर्नु छ तिमीलाई. अनि क्यारेक्टर एसासिनेसन, वुमनको क्यारेक्टर यति एसासिनेटेड हुन्छ कि. एक्जाम्पल, हामी डेटा लिन अफिसबाट म श्रीजुदी र हामी दुईजना गएको थियौँ साइबर ब्युरोमा ठ्याक्क अगाडि. अनि there's this woman who belongs to the indigenous community and she's standing there. अनि साइबर ब्युरोको अफिसियल्सहरू हुनुहुन्छ अनि they're looking through the एउटा फोन कि. they're like यस्तो यस्तो फोटो छ तपाईँको, तपाईँलाई कसले यस्तो यस्तो पठाउनु भनेको थियो त होइन. अनि चाहिँ तपाईँ, अनि there's this female staff who's like अनि तपाईँको बिहा भएको छ कि छैन, अनि बिहा भएको छैन, त्यसो भए त पछि यस्तो यस्तो कुरा बाहिर आयो भने तपाईँको बिहा कसरी हुन्छ, सोच्नु भएको छ कि छैन, यस्तो पठाउनु अगाडि सोच्नु पर्दैन थियो भनेर. एन्ड सी इज जस्ट that girl is just there alone के. सबै यस्तो भइरहेछ with her right there. And we tried to talk to her पछि के भएको रहेछ भन्दाखेरि कति इयर्स अगाडि she was talking to someone over phone कुराहरू गरिरहेको थियो नि. she shared her intimate picture. she was like अलिअलि सेयर गर्यो अनि पछि अझै कसलाई पठाइदिन्छु भन्न थाल्यो, अझै सेयर गर्न थाल्यो. तर त्यसपछि यसै बित्यो नि कति टाइम पछि अर्कै कसले केस गरेर यो मान्छेले यस्तो गर्यो भनेर उसको कि त्यो मान्छे भेट्दाखेरि उसको फोनमा हेर्दै यति धेरै वुमेनको त्यस्तो पिक्चर्सहरू के उसको फोनमा. अनि अब एट दिस पोइन्ट अफ टाइम साइबर ब्युरोले त्यो केटीलाई बोलायो त्यसरी उसँग डिल गर्यो अनि उसलाई ल भोलि त हामीले तपाईँलाई फेरि बोलाउनु पऱ्यो हामी तपाईँलाई फोन गरेर बोलाउँछौँ भनेर भन्यो कि होइन नो सेन्सिटिभिटी इन डिलिङ विथ हर अनि अब चाहिँ तपाईँले उसलाई बोलाएर के भयो त उसको त उल्टै उल्टै सी जस्ट डिस्टर्ब्ड होइन मैले ऊ जमानामा पठाएको फोटोज अहिले पनि यसरी आएको छ कि त्यो उल्टै यु जस्ट एडिङ अन टु अ ट्रमा विदाउट एनी सोर्ट अफ जस्टिस द्याट इज गोइङ टु गेट उसलाई त बरु नथाहा भएकै भए बेटर थियो नि त होइन अनि इट्स लाइक होइन कि यो अब सरकारवादी मुद्दा हुन्छ अनि यसमा हामीलाई केस गर्न सजिलो हुन्छ कि
वान अफ माई टिचर होइन लिगल एस्पेक्टबाट होइन लाइक समबडी हु एक्चुअली टिच मी लिगल राइटिङ वाट ही सेड इज तपाईँको यो सेक्सुअल भाइलेन्स सेक्सुअल हरासमेन्ट रेप केसेसको जुन एफआइआर हुन्छ नि त्यो हेर्नुपर्छ अरे होइन इट इज नट लेसर देन अ पोर्नोग्राफिक इरोटिक बुक रे कि इरोटिका भन्दा कम हुँदैन अरे कि बिकज वी डोन्ट हेभ अ गाइडलाइन कसरी लेख्ने भनेर सम एक्चुअली पुलिसहरू दे एक्चुअली इन्जोय when the other person actually describes the trauma. So गएर त्यो केसेसहरू लिँदाखेरि पहिला एफआइआरको कपी माग्नुपर्छ नि त्यो मागेर हरासमेन्टको केसेसहरू हेऱ्यो भने होइन इट्स रिटन लाइक एन एरोटिक अरे कि इट डज नट रिफ्लेक्ट द ट्रमा द पार्टनर गोज थ्रु रे कि उनीहरूको सेन्सिटिभिटी नै छैन राइटिङमा देयर जस्ट गोइङ टु आस्क ऱ्यान्डम क्वेसन त्यो मान्छे कम्फर्टेबल होस् त्यो क्वेसन भ्यालिड होस् सेन्सिटिभ होस् द्याट डज नट रियली म्याटर बट देन एज लङ एज फर्स्टमा त प्रिकन्सिभ नोसन जजमेन्ट भइहाल्छ केटी जाने बित्तिकै इभन द पुलिस हु इज एक्चुली सपोज टु बी अनबायस्ड एन्ड राइटेड उसले जजमेन्ट्स दिन्छ त्यसपछि उसको राइटिङमा पनि बायसनेस देख्छ अरे कि सो इफ ट्रमेटिक इन्सिडेन्टको एफआइआर नै इफ इट साउन्ड्स लाइक एन एरोटिका होइन वाट इज द लेभल अफ सेन्सिटिभिटी विथ विच द केस इज डेल्ट के द्याट्स द क्वेसन
अस्ति एउटा प्यानल डिस्कसन भएको थियो वी ह्याड टु पुलिस अफिसर्स एसपीजहरू हुनुहुन्थ्यो one from the CIB and CBI, sorry, and he was very sensitive in this particular topic, maybe because he has 2 daughters and he got one of his daughters in the conversation as well. But what happened was he was the only one, अर्को सरले चाहिँ त्यति एक्नोलेज गर्नु उहाँले के भन्नुभयो भन्दाखेरि हामीले जतिसुकै भनौँ होइन त्यो वर्दीभित्र यही समाजको मान्छे बस्छ
एक्ज्याक्टली
that pretty much explains everything that we are talking about होइन कतिपय समयमा यो त एकदमै के भन्छ यो अब हामीले चाहिँ आइपिभीको जस्तै के अरे न्युड्सहरूको कुरा गऱ्यौँ जुन चाहिँ अलिकति हाम्रो सोसाइटीले एक्सेप्ट गर्न सकिसकेका छैन होला वाट एभर सेक्सुअल हरासमेन्ट अर बेसिक भोयलेन्स फिजिकल भोयलेन्स त हामीले जमानादेखि गरिरहेको कुरा हो नि त त्यसमा पनि त त्यति सेन्सिटिभिटी त देखाउँछ जस्तो मलाई लागेन नि त यसै नै त कन्भर्सेसन हुन्छ होला नि त होइन अहिले त भइहाल्छ नि घरमा होइन यतिको लागि किन आउने एउटा कुन मुभीको ट्रेलर देखाएको थिएँ मैले एकचोटि थप्पड हाने भनेर केस गर्ने टाइपको अनि फर अ वाइल आई थट या दिस यु नो दिस पार्सियल के अहिलेसम्म नि त्यो छ क्या एउटा थप्पडमा त किन जानु पऱ्यो भनेर आयो कि एक राउन्ड मेरो पनि दिमागमा इट केम द्याट बट देन उसले त्यसमा भनेको छ नि त हाने उसले तर उसले पाउँदैन भनेर भनेको छ नि त पाउँदैन नि त फर रियल त सो या अगेन I think we should just move on with this होइन जस्तै हामीले कुराहरू गऱ्यौँ ब्ल्याकमेलिङको कुरा गऱ्यौँ स्टकिङको कुरा गऱ्यौँ हामीले त्यसपछि वी टक अबाउट कन्ट्रोलिङ म्यानिपुलेसन ग्यास लाइटिङ आई नो वान थिङ फर अ फ्याक्ट मैले जुन कन्टेक्स्ट अहिले ल्याएको थिएँ त्यसमा त लट अफ गर्ल्स वर सुइसाइडल दे जस्ट वान्टेड टु किल देमसेल्फ म आफै मरौँ कि अरूले कसैले आएर मलाई मार्छ कि कुनै जादु होस् कि मेरो यो जिउबाट चाहिँ मेरो आत्मा निक्लेर जाओस् that is their condition I know this is just like okay suicidal thoughts is one example that I can give you यो जति पनि हामीले कुराहरू गर्यौँ त्यसको रिजल्ट चाहिँ एउटा मान्छेमा एउटा जो भिक्टिम हो उसमा अरू के हुन सक्छ
there's a lot of things that can happen नि अब एउटा त suicidal is अब हामीले सोच्दा oh my god it's the extreme भन्ने हुन्छ नि but there are a lot of different things say मान्छेहरू डिप्रेसनमा जाने एङ्जाइटी यताउति प्यानिक अट्याक्स ट्रमाटिक ट्रिगर्सहरू इट्स लाइक त्यो रिलेसनसिप कुनै पनि अहिलेको मोडर्न डे रिलेसनसिपमा एउटा रिलेसनसिपको ट्रमा यु क्यारी इट इन यर बडी कि इट्स नट इभन कति कुरा त्यो डिरेक्टली त्यही कुरा एनाक्ट पनि हुनु पर्दैन कि कसैले एउटा सेन्टेन्स भन्दा पनि एउटा
अनि
has happened to me while doing this episode this show I think it was 2 episodes ago हामीले सुट चाहिँ 2टा एपिसोड अगाडि गर्दाखेरि आई जस्ट मलाई एकछिन टाइम लाग्यो टु गेट ब्याक बिकज त्यसले मलाई ट्रिगर गर्यो कि होइन अनि फर अ लङ्गेस्ट टाइम फर वाट ह्यापन टु मी अर्लियर विथ माई again, the guy I thought I was dating who wasn't dating me. For the longest time, I would get scared. Okay, मलाई कोही केटा मान्छे मेरो पछाडि उभियो कि म अझै पनि it comes to my body. Okay, I start shivering. Okay, thought ले नै के that stays with you forever.
And it affects your another relationship पनि के
Yeah,
when you
I was
move
actually
on.
about to say that.
अनि like अलिकति पनि सिमिल्यारिटी त्यो प्याटर्नमा देखिहाल्यो भने पनि पहिला यस्तो गरेको थियो यसपालि पनि यही हुन्छ. I can see it.
But that's the thing, okay? You can recognize it, but it's so difficult to again take the right action. Okay?
Yeah.
I said अघि मैले भने नि थाहा छ theory सबै थाहा छ त्यसलाई अप्लाई गर्न एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्छ रियल लाइफमा.
Yeah. अनि त्यही त अनि again this whole being a strong woman is used against you, okay? तैँले किन सकेनस्? अनि that makes me wonder कि साला हामीले त सकेन अरू कसले सक्छ?
म सोच्छु त्यो. I think a lot
It
of that.
actually comes. मलाई चाहिँ गर्न सक्छ भने the girls who are like introvert अथवा जो राम्रोसँग बोल्न सक्दैन उनीहरूले चाहिँ कुन लेभलमा फेस गरेर होला.
The other day me and my friends were having conversation अनि त्यसपछि हाम्रो लेभल यति घटिसक्यो जस्तो लाग्यो होइन. हाम्रो लेभल बेसिक के हो थाहा छ? I just have to feel safe with the guy. That's like what do you look in a guy? I want to feel safe with him. And I was like एकछिन सोचेँ कि मैले बाप्रे लेभल यति घटिसक्यो अरू केही छैन. I just have to feel safe with the guy. My sister, she just said, okay, I want to marry this guy. And the first thing I asked her, do you feel safe with traumatized beyond repair भएन त यो?
त्यो प्यारामिटरमा सेफ त should not have been an option पनि कि त्यो त आउनु पर्थ्यो automatically.
That should have been default.
Yes, it is default नि त. It is not something that has to be
क्राइटेरिया त अरू हुनु पर्यो नि त हैन. अरू फन
छैन.
मेबी फन क्राइटेरिया हुन सक्छ हैन अथवा से अरू क्वालिटिजहरु हुन सक्छ.
Everybody like what is the criteria?
मलाई सोधे
Healthy.
मेरो साथीले and I just said I just want to feel safe with the guy. And then I thought damn we're like traumatized beyond repair sis. यो भन्दा अगाडि त हामी बढ्नै सकेको छैनौँ. That's the criteria that we have for ourselves in our partners. त्यो आको कहाँबाट भन्दाखेरि just all the trauma like I said for the longest time and कहिलेकाहीँ अहिले पनि when a man stands behind me I just start shivering के मलाई ल अब के हुन थाल्यो ल के भयो त्यो आउन थाल्छ के ममा. So this is one okay maybe a trauma that stays with us since like forever हैन. यसले हाम्रो रिलेसनशिपमा इफेक्ट गर्यो इमोसनली इफेक्ट गर्यो. Do you think it also affects our perception of the other gender?
Yeah.
Oh, it does massively.
Of course.
Massively.
Yes, it does.
Trust issues. Can you trust someone? No. It's going to take a really long time. Even if it's the nicest person, to be able to trust them, it's going to take such a long time. Okay?
It affects your healthy relationships. too,
Exactly.
eventually.
Exactly. And it's like, well, everyone in my family knows I don't trust anyone. Like, I don't trust especially the male members. It's like, baos, hojur baos, josukas, it's like, everyone knows. No.
How do they react to this?
Yeah.
They react to बच्चे बड़े too loud नि त अनि
Yeah.
घरमा नि very जिद्दी. So it's like no one can deal with me, which is good.
But
then
that's so
it takes-
disturbing, you know.
that takes
I mean,
courage
fortunately
pani.
for me, hasn't happened that way. I am like I trust my father and my brother so much. They are the men in my life, you know. But when this harassment episode happened, I remember I stopped having a lot of conversation with my brother because म केटाहरूसँग कन्भर्सेसन गर्नमा अलिकति
Yeah.
डर हुने के. So it did affect my personal relationship, but it wasn't because I don't trust him. त्यो
Yeah.
subconsciously भइरहेको थियो. I'm sorry, Kriti, you were saying something.
No, I was saying stuff like it must have taken courage pani to go to the family and say I don't trust the men in my family. I'm lucky enough, like you said, and I have a dad who loves me like hell.
He's someone I'm like.
I can live alone with him for days
Yeah.
and days and I don't have
Months
a problem
and
at
years.
all. My mom does not have a problem at all. We're very healthy, but then when someone says I can't trust people from my family and when they say it vocally, I'm like courage छ होला नि त. Everybody does not say it हैन. 60 to 70% मान्छेले केही न केही फेस गरे हुन्छ हैन, but 20% ले भन्छ होला के it takes balls man. I could not होला. Even if I would face that, I don't think I would be able to.
But that is also not to say I don't love them. Okay.
You do.
I think there's a distinction that has to be made when I say that I don't trust them because I don't trust them because I believe that everyone is capable of worse things. Okay? So it's like just making sure it's just having this conversation that someday if you do anything wrong, I am not going to hesitate to drag you through courts. That is where I'm drawing my boundary. Okay? It's like when I say I don't trust you, it doesn't mean I'm not going to stay with them. Of course I do. Like it'll just be me and my dad or me and my kaka. It's completely fine. But it just gets someday, if you mess up, I'm out.
But that has to be for everybody, ne?
Yeah, exactly.
Because legally everybody is bounded by the same law, obligation, morality ta एउटै हो नि त. So even if you're very comfortable and you don't say anything, somebody tries to do something, even if it's your dad, they have to be dragged to the court. Everybody has to do that.
But can they?
They cannot. That's the problem.
That's the thing.
But it is something जुन आफै by default हुनु पर्ने हो के. Everybody is same under the law of law नि त.
अनि there's this research paper कि like intimate partner violence को कुरा गर्ने बेलामा how do we protect हाम्रो संस्कार भन्ने कुरा आउँछ के. अनि it's so fascinating to see कि कोही माथि तिमीले अत्याचार गरेर अरूलाई हेपेर तिम्रो जुन यो समाज चलाइराछौ त्यसलाई राख्नको लागि चाहिँ तिम्रो त्यो चाहिँ तिम्रो संस्कार के. महिला सहनशील हुनु पर्यो नाले यति त गरे त्यो हुन्छ नि. अघि तिमीले भनेको थियो नि त्यो यति त सहनु परिहाल्यो नि. त्यो चाहिँ हाम्रो संस्कार रे.
केलाई संस्कार मान्ने नै थाहा छैन कि मलाई. के चाहिँ हो त हाम्रो संस्कार चाहिँ?
कस्तो रिलिजियस ग्राउन्डमा चलेको छ हाम्रो
सोसाइटी
एभ्रिथिङ लाइक इन जेनरल होइन. जस्तै अब यहीँ पनि होला. आई थिङ्क आई ह्याड दिस कन्भर्सेसन एन्ड वी ह्याभ दिस कन्भर्सेसन अ लट when it comes to like concept of virginity देखि लिएर even हाम्रो clothing देखि लिएर morality देखि लिएर. And when we say clothing, we're not asking you to हुन्छ नि watch us walk in a bikini on the road. That's not
I would love to.
I would love to, but that's not what I want to do. Even in general, I wouldn't. I know. But then सबै कुरा के कस्तो रिलिजियस ग्राउन्ड्समा आउने के. अनि इभेन्चुली यसमा पनि कति इफेक्ट परिहाल्ने रहेछ नि त.
पर्छ
होइन.
तर अहिले अब हामी रिलिजनको कुरा अझै गर्दै जान्छ हामीलाई के भनिदिन्छ एन्टी हिन्दुत्व होइन त. अनि बट देन एडिङ मोर अन टु द्याट गाउँघरमा हुने किसिमको त्यो रिपोर्ट्सहरूले चाहिँ कस्तो देखाएको छ भन्दाखेरि मेजोरिटी वान अफ द रिजन्स इज छोरा प्रेफरेन्स के. छोरा चाहियो. इफ कुनै पनि फ्यामिलीमा एकदम छोरी छोरी भयो अब छोरा भएन भने चाहिँ इट्स लाइक द वुमन स्टार्ट्स गेटिङ टोर्चर्ड के. वान अफ द मेजर रिजन्स त्यो भयो.
ए
अर्बन पपुलेसनमा पनि छ.
अर्बनमा पनि छ.
इट्स जस्ट लाइक गाउँघरको रिपोर्ट आयो होइन. अर्बन पपुलेसनमा हेऱ्यो भने पनि दुईवटा ट्विनमा एउटा छोरी छोरी जन्मियो भने एउटा चाहिँ छोरा जन्मिँदा भयो. दुईवटा छोरा छोरा जन्मियो भने त एउटा छोरी भन्दैन त. एउटा चाहिँ छोरा जन्मिँदा.
But these days, you know, I'm meeting so many people मेरो माम पापाको जेनेरेसनको जसको चाहिँ छोरा मात्रै छ अथवा एउटा मात्रै छोरा छ अथवा मल्टिपल सन्स. दे कम टु आवर हाउस एन्ड दे लिटरली उहाँहरूले एक्सेप्ट नै गर्नुहुन्छ कि छोरी चाहिने रहेछ घरमा.
यस अहिले आएर रियलाइज
एन्ड आइ एम ग्ल्याड. ओके ठिक छ. कमसेकम हजुरले एक्सेप्ट गर्नुभयो. मेबी हजुर पछि जसले सुनिरहेछ मेबी यर जेनेरेसन नेक्स्ट जेनेरेसन दे विल प्रब्ली सी दिस थिङ होइन. अब खास मैले छोरा जन्माउनु हुँदैन चाहिँ भने होइन है. तर त्यसरी एकदम पर्सिस्टेन्टै भएर करियर नै छोरा मान्ने हुन्छ नि. लाइक गोल्स हुन्छ नि गोल्स. ओके जसरी लाइक यु सेड ओके आई वान्ट टु स्टडी ल अर वाट्स एभर लाइक यु मे वान्ट टु गो फर्दर एन्ड बिकम सर्टेन काइन्ड अफ एडभोकेट अर वाट्स एभर. त्यो पो हामीले हो नि त होइन. त्यसको लागि पो काम गर्ने. छोरै जन्माउनलाई काम गर्न चाहिँ छोड्नु हुन्छ कि भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा पोइन्ट अफ भ्यू छ. I think we can just wrap up this particular topic now. I wanted to talk about our reversal ko lagi, because just because of हामी तीनजना केटी बसेछ, I don't think the stories only has to be women focused.
Yes.
I'd like to believe that there's something male focused as well. Though I may not be able to give a perfect perspective to it, but do we have stories of women being creepy stalkers, women being the one who are the perpetrators in IPVs?
Global context मा त अहिले Amber Heard and Johnny Depp को case is perfect example भइसक्यो.
They're both like pretty
both are messed up in their own ways. Both are messed up in their own ways. So because of that everybody is regarding it के तर everybody is like women might also be the perpetrator भन्ने कुरा Amber Heard को केसबाट थाहा भयो, Johnny Depp को केसबाट थाहा भयो. And being a law student होइन, everybody comes to you, what is your opinion on it? I don't know the full fact, I can't give you my opinion because you don't know what's truth and what's not. अब यो कसैले केस जित्यो भन्दैमा you don't know the fact behind it नि त. अनि because of this everybody is thinking Amber Heard जस्तो मान्छे चाहिँ perpetrator हो भनेर के. But there's so much more to it के. But then we don't think about it. हाम्रो नेपालमै पनि त केसेसहरू आइरहेको छ. झापामा अस्ति रिसेन्ट केस आएको थियो which actually could not be addressed because हामीसँग provisions छैन regarding मेलको rape law or sexual harassment law होइन. So these types of things come around होइन. But then केटीको जस्तो हाइलाइट फोकसमा आइरहेको छैन के.
Is it because it's not happening or is it because
it's happening but then because we've like कि त अस्ति एउटा आएको थियो नि, have you watched that TikTok video? पठाउ राइडरसँग गएको रहेछ अनि the guy was apparently gay. So he actually harassed the other person and he started touching. And
It's a
then
male harassing male.
yes, but then when he actually described it, he was laughing throughout.
त्यो उहाँको
Denial.
निस्केको
I
त्यसरी
know.
नै उहाँले हाँसेर सुनाउनु भयो तर it could so be visible.
Exactly, like you have trauma, but then the society ले कस्तो normalize गरिदियो कि like you laughed at it. And when you laugh at it, तिम्रो भित्र एकदम धेरै trauma छ अरे, but then you आफै laugh at it, the other person is watching is हाँसी त रहेछ, उसलाई त रमाइलो लाग्यो होला, funny थियो, joke थियो भनेर, which is not how it's actually supposed to be नि त. So these type of cases come, but it just does not get addressed. Okay? You want to add something?
Yes. So अहिले I'll add on to your Johnny Depp र Amber Heard को केसमा हैन. So त्यसमा चाहिँ people think कि हुन्छ नि Johnny Depp won the case यताउति के. It is so important to clarify that Johnny Depp is guilty of abuse.
Yes.
Has been labeled as a wife beater. There is a case which has been decided पहिला नै.
Yeah.
The only case that was brought right now, the question was whether Amber Heard can actually talk about that or not. Does she have the right to talk about the fact that she has been violated by her former partner?
Because
And the court decided-
Yeah.
And the court decided that she cannot. So you can see how patriarchy actually functions in a whole, like even in the legal situations. Ki like, the court did not decide whether Amber Heard, whether Johnny Depp is guilty or not. Yeah, it just decided ki now Amber Heard cannot speak about it.
That was a defamation case.
That was a defamation
That was
case.
defamation.
Exactly.
It wasn't okay. She there was a domestic violence from the woman's side to the man, but
Yeah.
it was a defamation case. And उसले त defamation case जितेको हो नि त, from just a basic
Yeah.
perspective, from what I understand.
Defamation
I know.
case, yes.
He's still guilty of being a violent man.
Yeah.
He's also been charged with certain compensation, no? But मान्छेहरूले त्यो कुरा गर्ने रहेछ छैन कि they're just saying
because
कि
उसको compensation कम छ नि त.
$10 million को मात्र कुरा गरिरहेछ
उसले मागेको त 50 कि 50 अनि 100 जस्तो लाग्थ्यो.
50 को गरेको
50
जनले
को
अनि त्यसको
उसले
काउन्टरमा
चाहिँ,
चाहिँ उसले 100 million गरेको, but then state law अनुसार you just don't give that much amount of money,
Yeah.
हैन? But then उसलाई पनि छ के compensation, हैन? Johnny Deppले थोरै amount होला तर छ. But then we're कति धेरै focusing on the amount he's getting, $10 million, that we forget कि there must be some reasons why he's charged थियो नि त. यतिकै फोकटमा त दिएन होला नि त उसलाई पनि. But then we don't address it, के?
Yeah.
Also, it was such a show.
Yeah.
Such a show.
And think about the strategy they used. कि they went to a state जहाँबाट तिम्रो court proceedings can be telecasted live.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Very strategic.
Strategic, yes.
And that is to restore his sort of,
His image.
his image.
He was losing his
Career.
movies, Nita.
He did.
He was losing his
lost
movies.
a lot of movies.
So that's the reason he wanted his career back, and this was very strategic.
It was a show. I mean, it was all over, and even at this point of time, there's so much conversation going around in that topic, and
Yeah.
and I absolutely go through a lot of people and their story where mostly men whose story where they crack jokes about how finally there is a man in this world who won a conversation against a woman, and it's like so funny for them, and then it's so triggering for women like us not supporting Amber Heard on whatever she's done. That is there again. And it's so unfortunate that every time we talk about these kind of topics we have to clarify the होइन मैले त्यो भनेको होइन,
Exactly.
मैले यो मात्रै भनेको तर मैले त्यो होइन भनेको होइन.
Yeah.
होइन. So yeah, getting back to in general, अब त्यो त अलिकति sensationalized topic भयो, and maybe every time I'll say our men harassed, we will always have the flag bearer of the whole story, and the ever legend Johnny Depp. He's going to be there. That case just comes to everyone. It's so natural. Are there other, maybe in our country, maybe in our society, maybe the cases that you have seen firsthand?
Yes. So I wanted to move into that. A couple of people, men, they've shared with me their instances. One of them was pretty young, and he was molested by a young woman who was married. Her husband wasn't there.
How old was he?
He was in his teens.
Okay.
Early teens. Ani invited him to her place. Husband थिएन उहाँको. So inappropriate touching and things like that. एक दुई चोटि भयो. After that he said that he stopped going. हैन? यो कुरा he hadn't shared with anyone. And he's double the age that he was त्यो बेलामा अनि another instance was someone who was in a relationship and then they kind of broke up, but then the girl started spreading rumors कि he's an abuser यताउति हो यस्तो कुराहरू के अनि he had to lose a lot of things because of that, but then he was like there was no place where I could go and contest this हुन्छ नि त्यो मैले कहिले त्यस्तो गरेकै नै छैन मलाई यसै लेबल लगाइदियो मेरो होल कलेजको युनिभर्सिटीको टाइमै यस्तरी बिग्रियो आई डोन्ट वान्ट टु गो ब्याक म कहाँ गएर के गरेँ मैले कसरी भन्ने अनि similar case of someone else where they'd just gone out but suddenly there's this whole label on it.
So there are stories of men being blackmailed and stalked as well.
Yeah.
Stalked as well. Yes, one of them was heavily stalked. And he heavily pursued, tried to the kind of advances that we don't like from men. Same advance but from a girl. Okay?
Yeah.
But one of the things is like these men, they did not have any spaces to go and share. At least हामीलाई त अलिअलि भए पनि स्पेसेसहरू अहिले आएको छ नि त आफ्नो फ्रेन्ड सर्कलमा होस् केमा होस् कि फर्स्ट अफ अल त the acceptance that something has happened to them, they're just in denial. जस्तै त्यो हाँसेर भन्यो उहाँले भन्ने कुरा आयो नि
It's also like
exactly and to be able to process that अनि गएर कुरा गर्ने ठाउँ खोइ लिगलको त परै जाओस् हैन गएर एटलिस्ट ओपन अप भएर कुरा गर्ने ठाउँ खै अनि लिगलको अर्को कुरा वान अफ द मेजर वान लाइक वाट इज रियली अफेक्टिङ इज यो नेपालमा एकदम धेरै चिल्ड्रेन आर सेक्सुअली अब्युज के एकदम धेरै स्पेसली पहिला चाहिँ फरेनर्सबाट एकदम हुन्थ्यो अहिले इभन नेपाली उसबाटै कि मैले यहाँ अर्को एउटा एनजिओमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि उहाँहरूले चाहिँ के भन्नुभएको थियो भन्दाखेरि देयर इज दिस मेल चाइल्ड एकदमै हिँड्नै अप्ठ्यारो हुने गरी हिँड्न थाल्यो अरे कि लास्टमा दे केम टु रियलाइज कि दिस certain person चिनेको मान्छे used to sexually abuse him के so like anal sex के अब sex के भने anal rape हैन so तर बिचरा that बच्चाको अब त्यो पेरेन्ट्सलाई थाहा भयो अब जस्टिस सिक गर्न खोजे छैन there are no provisions now what
there aren't any हाम्रो child rights मा पनि केही छैन
no we have juvenile delinquency ma there are provisions of course because there is a certain separate bench हैन juvenile bench which is going to decide on cases like this and we have juvenile को लागि भनेर cases हरु एउटा proper law नै draft भएको छ कि for juvenile cases हरु बच्चाहरुको लागि भनेर
तर she said कि मेल रेप मा चाहिँ लान पाएन भनेर के
they had to childमा लान पाउँछ if you have cases in which is to यो homosexuality वाला rape cases हरु छ भने you can actually go child को sexual harassment अथवा rape cases हरुमा बरु बच्चामा provisions छ के ठुलोमा भन्दाखेरि childमा लगेर if you go and see there are cases हरु हामीले पनि like we have to learn examples हरु हैन proper NKP वाला नेपाल कानुन पत्रिकाबाटै पढ्नु पर्छ के so there are cases यस्तो खाली which have been taken to the bench and जसमा चाहिँ justice has been served
okay
so maybe she did not know it or maybe male को ठुलोको छैन भनेर उले प्री अज्युम नोसन होला उसको हैन प्री कन्सिभ नोसन होला but
or maybe I understood it wrong
maybe like there must be a reason तर like child sexual abuse मा चाहिँ लिएर जान पाइन्छ there is a proper law नै के juvenile को लागि भनेर चाहिँ there is a pure bench and she can take it for sexual abuse
I thought so as well
yeah sexual abuse
I've also heard of child abuse case I'm not exactly sure of the name but I think it is Chris Brown or some popular singer मैले पहिले पढेको थिएँ यो so he was sort of sexually manipulated भन्ने कि raped नै भन्ने when he was what 12 or something and I didn't even know it was possible हैन by a woman त्यसले चाहिँ उलाई यति धेरै aggressive बनायो and I'm sorry I took the name I might have mistaken है यो context मा तर थियो को थियो मैले बिर्से exactly but it's a global star त्यसपछि चाहिँ अब legally उहाँले के गर्नुभयो I have no idea I just remember the fact that he then became very aggressive and he went around having a lot of sex he went around abusing a lot of women
यस्तो मेन्टली डिस्टर्ब मेनहरुको हेर्यो भने प्राय ट्रमेटिक चाइल्डहुडै भइरहेको हुन्छ कि साइकोलोजिकली
yeah also there is one case that I know of हैन and that sort of is a trauma for me मेरो लागि नै त्यो trauma हो because I am probably the only person who knows this from the man himself अरु कसैले सायद सुनेको पनि छैन होला So this guy who is sort of very famous हाम्रो countryमा, अनि this girl, she realized that this guy can make her famous. Okay, so she started persuading him. She tried to lure him, अलिकति sexually manipulate गर्न खोज्यो होला. He said no, he didn't want to, he wasn't attracted. हैन, त्यसपछि there were so many things that happened. She built up such a huge, उहाँले यत्रो जाल बुन्नु भयो हैन, यस्तो किसिमको कन्स्पिरेसी स्टोरीज फैलाउनु भयो हैन, and she made sure that she gets hold of that guy हैन. Eventually they started dating. In my head they were just dating, but when I heard his side of the story, he literally said, Nishma, I didn't want her to touch me, she did, she blackmailed me, उसले मलाई blackmail गर्यो. And I could so clearly see that थाहा हुन्छ नि त उसले रियल भनेको कि फेक, एन्ड आई नो त्यो कन्स्पिरेसी थियो त्यहाँ भनेर हैन. अनि मैले त आई लिटरली टुक इट ओके ना दिस इज डेटिङ. मैले उसलाई नाइ भने उसले जबरजस्ती मलाई छोयो. मैले यति धेरै डच गर्न खोजेँ, उसले यत्रो जाल बुनेर मलाई ब्ल्याकमेल गर्यो. उसले यस्तो गर्यो कि सी लिटरली वेन्ट टु हिज हाउस, स्टेड विथ हिम, मेड इट लुक लाइक हुन्छ नि त्यो जुन हामीले भन्छौँ नि केटाहरूले यस्तो गर्यो अनि एकदमै पागल दिवाना जस्तो गर्यो. सी डिड अल अफ द्याट के. And eventually the way he told me, अब म फसिसकेँ, मैले भन्न पनि मिल्दैन कसैलाई हैन, अब मैले भने त मै नराम्रो हुन्छु. अनि द सोसाइटी द्याट वेयर इन, अब लाइक यु सेड हाम्रो लागि त अलिअलि भन्ने ठाउँ पनि छ, केटाले कहाँनिर भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ नि. मैले भने त मै गलत हुन्छु, यहाँ समाजले त मलाई नै गलत भन्छ. यस्तो केसमा चाहिँ के गर्छौ त तिमीहरू किन यति धेरै केटीहरूलाई उभिन्छौ, केटाहरूलाई किन उभिँदैनौ भन्ने किसिमको कुरा गरे उसले, विच इज लाइक समथिङ द्याट आई डोन्ट नो वेदर आई हेभ एन आन्सर फर. बट यो पनि हुँदो रहेछ क्या, सो मच एक्सट्रिम के. यसमा सबै इन्क्लुड भयो नि त हामीले कुरा गरेको कुराहरू, लाइक फ्रम स्टकिङदेखि लिएर मेनिपुलेसनदेखि लिएर ब्ल्याकमेलिङदेखि लिएर हैन. देयर वाज अ लट अफ सेक्सुअल मेनिपुलेसन, देयर वाज अ लट अफ हरासमेन्ट, एन्ड यु नो अल अफ अ सडन हामीलाई त कमसेकम थ्योरी थाहा छ नि त, मैले केटी भएर म यो गर्न सक्छु भने कमसेकम थ्योरी थाहा छ, प्र्याक्टिकली एप्लाई गर्न सक्ने. ही डिडन्ट नो, न उसलाई थ्योरी थाहा छ किनभने केटाले के गर्ने ब्ल्याकमेल हुँदाखेरि, न उसलाई थ्योरी थाहा छ, न उसले रियल लाइफमा अप्लाई गर्न सक्यो. This is one very disturbing story, and I say this, it's a trauma for me because I have a belief that I'm the only one who has heard him say that firsthand. So yeah, this is one case that I have in my side that you guys also added after no side, but you know. Again, I think you Elaine सकाउँदा हुन्छ. Is there anything you want to add, because you're just looking at me?
Sorry. के रे, इट्स जस्ट कि लाइक हामीले कति यो कुरा गर्दाखेरि क्वेयर इन्डिभिजुअल्सको पनि आउँछ.
Yeah, I was actually about to come into that. Sorry, yeah, you can continue. ठिक छ, मैले नै स्टार्ट गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने छैन. Yeah, queer individuals.
So yeah, queer individualsको पनि there's a lot of around it. कि जस्तै अब एउटा इज मेडिकल स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूले पढ्दाखेरि सोडोमी र ट्राइबेडिजम भन्ने कुरा पढ्छ कि. सोडोमी इज एनल सेक्स, ट्राइबेडिजम इज लेस्बियनिजम भनेर भन्छ कि. अनि त्यो लेखेको इज भेरी 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 एकदम
क्रिपी, चिप.
त्यो जमानामा कुन बेलामा लेखेको खालको कुरा अहिले पनि सेम पढ्नुपर्छ, जबकि कन्ट्रीमा इट्स अल लिगल नि त. अनि द्याट एस्पेक्ट इज देयर. बट देन अल्सो कि ए त देयर रेकग्निसन अफ देयर काइन्ड अफ सेक्स एन्ड देयर सोर्ट अफ इन्टिमेसीको कुराहरू, बट देन अल्सो त्यो सँगसँगै द सोर्ट अफ भायोलेन्स द्याट द अथोरिटिज डु अगेन्स्ट दिज इन्डिभिजुअल्स के. जस्तै ठमेलतिर होइन कतिजनालाई कति इयर्स अगाडि कसरी कुटपिट गरेको थियो, द इन्क्रिजिङ रेट्स अफ सुसाइड अफ पिपल बिलोङ्गिङ टु द क्वियर कम्युनिटी, स्पेसली ट्रान्स कम्युनिटी होइन. दिस इज अल ह्यापनिङ नि त. अनि त्यो हुँदाहुँदै अनि यो कम्युनिटीभित्रको चाहिँ आम नट द्याट अवेयर होइन, बट हियरिङ फ्रम माई क्वेयर फ्रेन्ड्स देयर इज अ लट अफ भायोलेन्स द्याट ह्यापन्स विदिन द कम्युनिटी इट्सेल्फ एज वेल कि. अनि अनदर थिङ इज कि मेनी अफ द टार्गेट्स for child sex abuse thing, especially with regards to young boys, they are boys who look feminine ke.
Yeah,
soft target bhayo, soft target bhayo त्यो type को boys haru भन्ने कुरा हो. I was actually about to get into it because kata I do realize that there is a lot of IPV, especially in this context, because it's very difficult for them to open up. जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई. Within the community चाहिँ I'm not very aware of. You I think look like you know a little more. मैले चाहिँ अरू इन जेनरल पनि सोचेँ क्या जस्तै बिकज दे लुक सो इजी टु इमोसनली अलिक भनरेबल हुन्छ कि जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई कन्सिडरिङ हाउ द सोसाइटी लुक्स एट देम ओर हाउ द सोसाइटी हेज पर्सिभ देम होइन अनि इमोसनली भनरेबल भएको कारणले गर्दा चाहिँ दे आर मोर प्रोन टु दिस काइन्ड अफ भोइलेन्स जस्तो लाग्यो कि मलाई इट्स भेरी इजी टु जस्तै हुन्छ नि हामीले एउटा ललिपप लियौँ भने मैले सायद 13 वर्षको बच्चालाई फकाउन अलिक गाह्रो हुन्छ है तर मैले 5 वर्षको बच्चालाई चाहिँ सजिलै फकाउन सक्छु किनभने उसको इमोसनल ब्यालेन्स त त्यति नै छ नि त उसँग त्यति नै इमोसनल कन्ट्रोल छ नि त 13 वर्षको बच्चामा सायद अलिक बढी होला अनि उसले चाहिँ होइन म खाँदिनँ नचिनेको मान्छेले दिएको ललिपप भन्न सक्छ नि त सो I mean the example may be very insensitive, I'm sorry, but this is how I can explain things. जस्तै कसैलाई चाहिँ कोही अब women नै भनेर भनौँ होइन cis het women I learned this term so maybe उसलाई चाहिँ if हुन्छ नि इमोसनली लड गर्न अलिकति गाह्रो होला as compared to you know maybe a trans woman जस्तो लाग्छ क्या मलाई it's just a concept that I have. Is there anything you guys want to add up on this? मलाई त्यस्तो लाग्छ it's just
I don't think that's a thing होइन त्यो चाहिँ like having interacted with a lot of trans men trans women होइन I don't think that's a thing त्यसरी
but then यस्तो भयो one of the reason that they get harassed is also because हाम्रो society itself होइन हामीले यो violence of queer community भनेको त धेरै अगाडिदेखि नै आइरहेको होइन open violence भइरहेको हुन्छ उनीहरूमाथि त and because of that बरु eventually they've become stronger चाहिँ कि they've been facing it for so long होइन त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि उनीहरूको त्यो कन्सेप्टमै आई हेभ टु बी स्ट्रङ्गर बिकज म अझ अलिकति भल्नरेबल पोजिसनमा छु अरूहरूभन्दा सोसाइटीमा त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि अलिकति सेल्फ अवेयर हुनुपर्छ भने अवेरनेस चाहिँ छ जस्तो चाहिँ लाग्छ मलाई कन्ट्रडिक्टरी
मेरो चाहिँ आई ह्याड एन इन्टरेक्सन विथ सम वान विच मेड मी रियलाइज द्याट मेबी हुन्छ नि मैले चाहिँ आफूलाई इमोसनली भनरेबल सोचेको थिएँ आई स द्याट पर्सन इभन मोर भनरेबल क्या अझै बढी हुन्छ नि जस्तै मेबी मोर प्रोन टु दिस काइन्ड अफ अब्युजेस जस्तो लाग्यो क्या मलाई मेरो
पनि हो
आफ्नो एउटा कन्भर्सेसनमा चाहिँ कि
अनि मान्छेको नेचर अनुसार पनि डिफ्रेन्ट हुन पनि सक्यो यु माइट बी राइट होइन बिकज त्यो मान्छे त्यस्तो थियो
मैले देखेको स्टोरीमा
एन्ड आई माइट बी राइट बिकज मैले देखेको स्टोरी अर्को हुन सक्यो कि सो अब हाम्रो पनि नेचर फरक छ
मैले कुरा गर्दाखेरि नै उहाँले भन्नुभएको थियो दे टेक अ सो इजिली जस्तो कुरा गर्नुभयो क्या उहाँले जुन हिसाबले द वे द काइन्ड अफ कन्भर्सेसन वी ह्याड दे टेक अस सो इजिली एन्ड इट्स सो इजी फर देम टु जस्ट वक अवे पनि के होइन अनि त्यसपछि वी इट जस्ट मेक्स अस त्यो पुरै कन्भर्सेसनमा चाहिँ मलाई त्यो फिल भयो क्या ओके मेबी हो कि जस्तो लागेर चाहिँ आई जस्ट ब्रट द्याट स्टोरी बट मेबी इट वाज जस्ट वान पर्सन एन्ड आई गट द होल कम्युनिटी इन्टु इट
होइन इट्स लाइक it's see someone has gone through a trauma someone comes out of it strong someone comes out of it completely broken nita
true
it's the same thing depends on the individual depends on their sort of circumstances in life
ब्याक स्टोरी थाहा भएन नि त हामीलाई मेबी द पर्सन आई एक्चुली इन्टरेक्टेड विथ ऊ अलिकति स्ट्रङ थियो अरे उसले ट्रमा त्यस्तो फेस गरेको छैन एन्ड द पर्सन यु एक्चुली वेन्ट थ्रु उसको अर्कैवाला स्टोरी हुन्छ सो त्यो हजुरको र मेरो पनि इफ लाइक टक
अर्बन क्राउड होइन हेज गन थ्रु अ लट अफ थिङ्स एन्ड त्यसपछि हामी जहाँ भेट्यौँ त्यो ठाउँ त धेरै ठुलो भयो होइन तर जुन हुन्छ नि इट्स भेरी इजी टु वक अवे फ्रम अस भन्ने कुरा जुन भयो नि द्याट मेड मी थिङ्क अफ इट अनि अस्ति हामीले जुन एपिसोड रिलिज गरेको थियो विथ एन्जल त्यसमा पनि अलिक बढी फेटिसाइज गरिन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ ट्रान्स वुमेनहरूलाई भन्ने कन्सेप्ट जुन थियो नि द्याट अल्सो मेड मी फिल द्याट मेबी आर दे जस्तो के या आई मिन इज देयर एनिथिङ द्याट यु वान्ट टु एड अन दिस कन्टेक्स्ट
आई थिङ्क I just like to talk about discardable bodies. Okay, when we said how it's so easy to walk away from them, it's like not just them, but also any sort of minority, or say particularly women from indigenous community, ethnic communities. Their bodies are very discardable. Okay, this brings in the caste kokura. And research also shows that lower caste women are much more susceptible to IPV. Jati lower caste, त्यति तिम्रो economic financial backing छैन, a lot of frustration, lack of education, lack of opportunities in life. Women who belong to lower caste bear the burden of both gender and caste.
Do actually. यो कुरा चाहिँ I also realized when I did a show that was only focused on casteism in Nepal in general. होइन अझ दुईटा होइन मधेसी दलित महिला भनिएको थियो मैले जुन एपिसोड गरेको थिएँ एन्ड दे वर लाइक तिनटै एङ्गलबाट के जुन यु सेड डबल त्यो तीनटा एंगलबाट इट अल्सो कम्स फ्रम द फ्याक्ट दैट दे डु नट ह्याभ अ सोशल स्ट्याटस एन्ड त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्तो भन्दाखेरि हाम्रो जस्तो देशमा मोस्टली पावर प्ले हुन्छ नि त होइन पावर डाइनामिक्स भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ चिनेको मान्छेको कल्चर हुन्छ अगेन पिपल हु आर इन युनिफर्म अफ एनी सोर्ट आर पिपल अगेन पिपल फ्रम द सेम सोसाइटी त्यसले पनि इफेक्ट गर्छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि इभन सिस्टमको कन्टेक्स्टबाट पनि उहाँहरू थिचिएकै हुन्छ होइन ल पेपरमा एकदम प्रिटी छ ल होइन बट इफ यु गो देयर एन्ड देन लुक एट द कन्डिसन यु रियलाइज people were right. All these activists, they were right. They weren't lying. They weren't just being like the obnoxious feminists that you're thinking they are. त्यो रियल हो उनीहरू बलात्कृत हुनुको कारणै उनीहरू त्यो जात भएर हो किनभने एक्सेस नै छैन टु द ल जो पहरेदारहरू हुनुहुन्छ कानुनको उहाँहरू नै ले पनि त्यसरी रेस्पोन्ड गरिरहनु भएको छ जसरी उहाँले गर्नुपर्ने हो त्यसबाहेक आई थिङ्क आई जस्ट लाइक टु एड सिन्स यु टक्ड अबाउट जात पञ्चायत अझै पनि एक्जिस्ट गर्छ इन मोस्ट कर्नर्स अफ द कन्ट्री इभन दो इट्स इलिगल त्यसले अगेन लाइक यु सेड यो सबै कुराहरूले चाहिँ एन्ड यु सेड स्ट्याटिस्टिकली सो आई लाइक टु बिलिभ द्याट यु read the papers and we have more credibility that side मैले चाहिँ गएर हेरेर यसरी नै कन्भर्सेसन सुनेर नै I would like to believe this story that okay lower the caste and then women and then minority from all the angles उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ अलि बढी हुन्छ violence in general sexual harassment in general rapes in general and then again the IPVs as well the woman I spoke to मधेसी दलित महिला हुनुहुन्थ्यो उहाँको श्रीमान किन मर्नुभयो उहाँलाई थाहा थिएन होइन अनि मैले चाहिँ एकदम सेन्सिटिभ भएर के भएर मर्नुभयो त बित्नु भयो त यहाँको श्रीमान भनेर सोद्धा उहाँले यसरी भन्नुभयो कि एज इफ सी वान्टेड हर म्यान डेड जस्तो के बिकज सी वाज ट्रिटेड सो हरेबली उहाँले खै के भएर मऱ्यो यस्तो टाइपले के एन्ड देन आई लेटर आई रियलाइज द्याट सी वाज नट ट्रिटेड भेरी वेल बाई द म्यान एन्ड सी डिड नट हेभ एनी काइन्ड अफ इमोसनल अट्याचमेन्ट विथ हिम अनि इट अगेन कम्स फ्रम द फ्याक्ट द्याट ओके he also didn't have education he also didn't have awareness and he is of course उहाँले के सिक्नुभयो भन्दा उहाँले सोसाइटीबाटै सिक्नुभयो जे सिक्नुभयो स्कुल गएर सिक्नु भएन किताबबाट सिक्नु भएन अथवा जुन किसिमको कुराहरू हामी गर्छौँ त्यस्तो रिसोर्सेसबाट सिक्नु भएन उहाँले सिक्नुभयो त्यही समाजबाट जुन चाहिँ अगेन द ब्याक टु पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी सो या द्याट इज डेफिनेटली देयर you want to say something
how do you know that I want to say something
just what comes to me naturally okay. That's why I am on this side
of course Kiri I know but I'm just thinking about it ki grandparents haru I know my granddad was very abusive to my grandmom ki and both of them are alive right and I came to know of it only a couple of months agadi ki and I was shocked because like you don't look at your grandparents and you don't think of them being in that sort of abusive relationship etauti and it's like budo mancheharu हामीले हेर्दाखेरि त हैन अनि grandmom told me हुन्छ नि यस्तो गरे त्यस्तो गरे त्यहाँ like it is very evident कि she cares for him एकदमै केही पर्यो भने बुवालाई केही पर्यो भने बुवालाई हुन्छ नि it's very natural to her कि but म त्यहाँ बसेर हेरिरहेको थिएँ अनि I'm like how do you care so much for a man who has been so abusive to you your entire life कि तिमी कहीँ गयो भने पनि कतिखेर आउँछ भनेर अब एक किसिमले माया गरेको पनि भयो अनि कतिखेर आउँछ भनेर गर्यो तर because of him you can't even go anywhere for a long time तिमीलाई घुम्न जान मन लाग्छ उहाँको कारण तिमी जान पनि पाउँदैनौ हुन्छ नि a lot of your liberties are constraints but through years of your life and you're still sharing a room हुन्छ नि you're still living with your abusive partner
every day every moment of your life
and I think of it and I know कि this is not just one instance के हुन्छ नि I bet this is a common occurrence कति धेरै families मा के
when you said my grandfather was abusive to my grandmother the inner voice in me said naturally I get the word मेरो दिमागमा naturally I didn't say it but it came to me त्यो कस्तो common कुरा जस्तो भयो त्यो जनरेसनको लागि especially
and again it's also shown कि हुन्छ नि many women who've grown up seeing violence they accept violence रे के भनेपछि यो त intergenerationally transfer भइरहेछ नि त अनि even with young boys who see that they're like oh यसरी हो this is how you control women this is how you discipline them
You have to discipline women. उहाँहरूको idea.
But then maybe it's backed up statistically, you know, when you're saying this, like it has been shown, there must be a certain parameter.
I read up research papers.
But then when I've
this is why I call you because I need someone who reads research
Yeah,
papers because I cannot clearly.
When you say you like, there are people भन्ने बित्तिकै आकृति भनेपछि she must have read something and that's why the information is brought up भनेर like you're bound to believe it because she reads, होइन? And then when you like think about it अहिले चाहिँ there are also instances in which चाहिँ a person has seen his mom getting abused for a long period of time or like seen उसकै like के भन्छ the wife has seen उसकै old भइसकेको grandparents, now she remembers कि मेरो dad used to do this for a long period of time. There are also people who are like यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि आई हेभ सिन माई मम क्राई, यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि आई हेभ सिन दिस, म चाहिँ यस्तो गर्दिनँ भन्नेवाला मान्छेहरू पनि छ कि. बट देन इफ यु सी नन स्टेटिस्टिकली लाइक देयर आर दिस टाइप अफ पिपल हाम्रो जेनेरेसन स्पेसली वर लाइक रक्सी खाएर ड्याड ल्याएर पिट्थ्यो, म रक्सी खाँदिनँ, and they don't touch alcohol for the rest of their life because they don't want to see their spouse again in the same situation. And there are people who are like, my mom is getting harassed, म गर्दिनँ भनेर कि. So positive changes पनि आइरहेको छ कि, just not like they're not only influenced to do something bad but they're also inspired to do something better. Okay?
Yeah, I mean two sides of the same story जस्तो पनि भयो. जस्तै कसैले चाहिँ देखेर मैले यस्तै नै गर्नुपर्छ भनेर सिक्यो, कसैले चाहिँ त्यही देखेर म चाहिँ यस्तो गर्दिनँ भन्ने कुरा सिक्यो. That's very interesting. It's just about, I don't know if there is any statistical
I know perceptions, but I don't think there are much research done in this because
I've also personally met someone like that.
Yeah, there are people like that. I know multiple people.
Some people become so compassionate after all the pain they go through.
Yes.
They become rather compassionate, and there's some people who become monsters through the same kind of story.
Perception अनुसार हो, like how you perceive it, how you take it, you're going to act accordingly होला. कसैलाई त्यो कुराले गर्दाखेरि राम्रो impact गर्छ, someone becomes like a monster like you said.
Alright, so we have a very long conversation if I'm not wrong, and I think we can just go on and on and on in this topic just so lagyo malai, but it's eventually show and we'll have to end it. So I mean, almost end tiraisekha chhau. Is there anything that you want to say, Aakriti?
There isn't much anything that I want to say. I think it's just that I hope we all become like better human beings and it's a better world out there for all of us.
Yeah. Learn what IPV is, have a clear concept, like don't take anybody's bullshit. Clearly don't take anybody's bullshit. You're much worthy than that. Don't do IPV, don't like accept IPV. Tolerance, like you said, I know there's a level of tolerance in everybody. I know patience and tolerance. Just know your boundaries. That's it.
Also, IPV ko modern day IPV ko barema research bhako chaina hai. So if anyone wants to research, please, I'll read.
I volunteer to research. Literally volunteer. Yes.
I would just like to listen to everything that has been read by you guys. Because I just clearly cannot. And I always find it very fascinating, and I respect people who can like read research papers almost every day, and then who have these statistics in their head and then share it with people like us who are like seeking knowledge but just cannot read again. So with this it's time for us to wrap today's episode. I'm just so thankful to both of you for making time for this episode. It was such a nice conversation. I would like to believe that we had multiple perceptions around the same topic, from the concept of gender, from the concept of inclusivity, socio-economic perspective as well. Law बाट पनि अलिअलि हामीले सुनि नै हाल्यौँ. त्यसबाहेक हामीले अरू पनि थुप्रै एपिसोड्सहरू गरेका छौँ सेक्सप्लोरेसनमै, जुन यहाँले हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ, जसबाट चाहिँ यहाँले एउटा मल्टिडाइमेन्सनल नलेज पाउन सक्नुहुन्छ. If you're also just like me who cannot read research papers, this podcast is just what you need in your life in general. त्यसबाहेक हरेक एपिसोडमा मैले भन्ने गरेकी छु, if there is anything more that you want to add, the comment section is there for you. If there's anything you want to like critically counter, again, I'm sure that everybody is just open to it. Besides, you can do a lot of things besides writing feminism is a cancer or something like that, because we're just having a discussion and this is our perception. You can add up to yours in the comment section. It's absolutely free. I'm Leo. Program सुरु गर्नुको, podcast सुरु गर्नुको reason नै, like I always say, information sharing. So हामीले पनि अझै पढ्न पाए, perception पढ्न पायो भने we'll be rather very happy. So yes, thank you so much to both of you, and thank you so much if you watched for this long. I'd really salute you because this is a really, really, really long episode. Thank you for watching it. And if you haven't, watch other episodes of SEXploration as well. You can see me and Kriti simultaneously hosting multiple episodes. So with this, it's time for me to sign out. We are supported by Yuva and funded by RHRN. We'd like to thank them as well. You can watch us in Radio Nagarik's YouTube page and Facebook page and comment, like I said, follow the channel, subscribe the channel as well. I'm Nishma Choudhary with this signing out, and not tolerate any kind of IPVs is the takeaway of this episode. Have a wonderful time ahead.